Hey, Cheetah Readers. I'm here with chapters 7, 8, and 9 of Abby in Orbit Blast Off. We're going to go ahead and pull up a copy of our book using Libby and our KCLS library card so that we can read together. Chapter 7, Cosmic Catastrophe. The next corridor was much darker than the one by the lab and a little spooky. But I was so happy. I didn't care. I was too busy doing my happy dance and singing, Interstellar, Interstellar. Abby, Grace, and Dimitri. We're Interstellar. Interstellar. I say enter, you say stellar. Enter. Enter. Gracie and I laughed, but Dimitri frowned and pointed to a sign over my head. The words were in Russian. Abby, watch out, he yelled. Too late. Turns out I danced right into a restricted part of the pod. Red lights flashed. The loudest, ugliest alarm I'd ever heard blared and screeched. Let's go that way, I said in a panic. What do we do? Gracie asked, terrified. The door at the end of the hall led to another large area, like the main pod. Scientists, workers, and other people rushed around. A uniformed man with a light stick waved everyone to the back of the pod. This way, the man said. Do not look at anyone, Dimitri said. Don't talk to anyone. Just blend in and be quiet. It didn't work. Hey, shouldn't you be in school? The man pointed his light stick at us. He'd caught us trying to hide behind the others. He slowly raised his watch and spoke into it, never taking his eyes off of us. It would have been the perfect time for a black hole to swallow us up, but no such luck. This is not interstellar, Abby, Dimitri muttered. Finally, the alarms and the red lights stopped. The pod was completely mute button silent. We stood waiting. Then everyone turned as a small woman parted the crowd. Her uniform glittered with shiny medals on the front and sparkly patches on the shoulders. She looked over everyone and didn't smile. Then she saw us at the back of the room. She raised one eyebrow, and my hands started sweating. Commander Johansson? Dimitri whispered. She's the big boss of Oasis. Everyone was scared of her. I was too, but I had to explain what happened. Gracie and Dimitri tried to stop me. No, Abby, said Gracie. Niet, added Dimitri. You will make things worse. Good morning, Commander Johansson. I reached out for a handshake. She looked down at my hand like it was a crumpled piece of paper. Abigail Baxter, the commander said in a voice much deeper than I expected. The oldest child of Dr. Sylvia Baxter and Dr. Jeremiah Baxter. You are... She squinted like it was a glitch on the screen. Not at all what I expected. I didn't like how her words felt in my heart. Dmitri Petrov. Gracie Chen? Yes, Commander Johansson, they said at the same time. I did not expect to find either of you in this situation. All of your parents have been notified. Gracie's cheeks flushed bright red. Dimitri's face turned as white as the moon. Neither of them said a word. But it's not their fault, I said. Gracie, Dimitri, and even some of the grown-ups shook their heads, but that only made me talk faster. You see, I told the commander, I took the wrong tablet. I was just trying to bring back the right one, and it was only supposed to take a few minutes, but we went the wrong way, and we would have gone straight back to class, and okay, maybe I danced a little too much, but I only wanted to celebrate our mission accomplished, and my friends shouldn't get into trouble for that. Commander Johansson just stared at me. She said nothing. It felt like she was looking straight through me. And then, out of nowhere, it happened. Tears oozed from my eyes and the room got swirly and I couldn't stop it. Abby, I heard Gracie and Dimitri yelling, Abby, don't cry. But I couldn't help it. All the feelings I tried to hold in for the whole day just poured out of my face. Well, they didn't exactly pour. Here's a really important fact about crying on the Oasis. In space, tears don't run down your cheeks. They don't fall at all. They just bubble up into these big, goopy, salty snot balls that cover your whole face. And then you can't breathe, and you look like a big, slimy headed monster. I don't recommend it. Abby, no, Gracie said. Calm down, Dimitri yelled. And I wanted to stop. I really did. And then it got worse. Sometimes too much crying gives me the hiccups. Adults crowded around to make sure I was okay. Someone handed Gracie a towel to help me mop up all the goo. Dimitri patted my back really hard. Didn't help at all. Commander Johansson just turned and headed to the door. Children, follow me now. Chapter 8, The Big Eclipse. The trip back to school happened in a flash. Aside from my hiccups, none of us said anything as we followed Commander Johansson. But the closer we got to class, the louder my heart pounded. And then, Abby? My mother's voice scared me so much I thought my hiccups might stop. Yes, Mommy? Nope. Everyone in the one pod schoolhouse just stopped and stared at us. And not just the kids, our parents were waiting too. Mommy glared at me with her hands on her hips and one eyebrow raised. I was in so much trouble. Mr. Krishna floated over to us and smiled. Oh, look, level 2 is back from an unscheduled field trip. I see you brought Commander Johansson here to my classroom. His smile looked a lot less happy. Grace, said a woman who looked a lot like Gracie and Claire, especially her eyes and cheeks. Dimitri, growled a stony-faced man with a mustache. He looked like a bigger, older, meaner version of Dimitri. Gracie and Dimitri both looked ready to cry. Look, I said to the adults, I made a mistake. No, I made a lot of mistakes. I'm sorry. I took the wrong tablet. I'm sorry I got Dimitri and Gracie and Gracie's big sister Claire glared at me as I almost said her name. Phew, saved by the hiccup. I'm sorry I got us all in this mess. Then I turned to Mommy and Papa. Looking into my mother's eyes was 250% harder than I thought it would be. Mommy, I'm sorry I disappointed you. I was careless again. If you want to send me back to Nana Sherry, I understand. Mommy's eyebrow lowered into her I'll think about it face. She looked at Papa. I don't know, Mommy said. What do you think, Doc B? Well, Dr. Baxter, Papa said, sounds like someone's first day of school started with a pop quiz on actions and consequences. He smiled and gave me a wink. Oh, mi corazón, Mommy whispered in my ear. Also sounds like someone's been crying. I nodded and she patted my cheek. It's okay. We'll talk later. Mommy turned to her boss. Commander Johansson, thank you for helping the children find their way back here. It was exceedingly kind of you, and we won't forget your benevolence. The other parents agreed. My pleasure, Dr. Baxter. Now, the commander looked around the room. I'm sure we all have work to return to, so let's get to it. The grown-ups headed to the door. Then Commander Johansson stopped and turned to me. Abigail Baxter, can you tell me what you learned today? Before I could open my mouth, she raised one finger. In one word only, she continued. Teamwork, I said. The commander nodded. She even smiled a little. Then Hold your breath and count to 30, the commander said before she disappeared through the door. You heard Commander Johansson, children, Mr. Krishna said to the whole class. Okay. The level 1 kids puffed up their cheeks to hold their breath for 30 seconds. No, Mr. Krishna replied with a sigh. We need to return to our lessons. All levels back to your stations. After all that, we'd only been gone for about 20 minutes. It was still exercise period for level 2, but Mr. Krishna said we'd had enough excitement for the day. So instead of playing a virtual reality game, we had to read the class rules. Gracie and Dimitri hopped onto their exercise bikes, strapped themselves in, and got to work. I floated over, pulled out my tablet, and joined them. Are your parents mad at you? I asked. They both nodded. Are you mad at me? Gracie looked down, like she was avoiding me. Dimitri looked up, like he was thinking. We should not have done what we did, Gracie said. Then a huge grin lit up her face, but it was so much fun. She quickly covered her smile with her hand. The beginning of the mission was poorly planned, and the end was a disaster, Dimitri said with a scowl. But the middle? That was interstellar. Interstellar, Gracie replied. It was only the first day of school, but I knew it right then. Level 2 was going to be the best team in the class. On Oasis, in the solar system, the Milky Way galaxy, the whole universe, and possibly the multiverse. But I couldn't shout it out loud, so I had to say it quietly. Interstellar, I whispered, smiling. Dimitri put on his earphones. That's so very annoying. Chapter 9, Between the Seas and the Stars. In the end, it turned out to be a pretty good day for the Baxters of the Oasis International Space Station. Mommy's big experiment went better than she thought it would. Even Commander Johansson was impressed. Nico and his new friends learned how to say hello in 5 languages. And Papa's laughter filled the whole pod as he listened to the story of my big adventure. Still, Mommy said that sneaking around the Oasis had consequences. So after school, I had to write an apology to Mr. Krishna, Commander Johansson, and every single one of the 135 people on the space station. It took a while to type it all, but it felt 200% better after I hit the last send. Good, Mommy said as she handed me some wipes. Next, when your brother's finally done, you can clean the bathroom. Cheese and craters! Nico tried his best, but used wipes, stinky blobs of pee, and little handprints were everywhere. What a mess. After I finished scrubbing everything, Mommy said, Abby, let's take a break. Mommy opened the door to the busy main pod. The sound of people talking roared around us all. But now it didn't seem so scary and confusing. I could see the streams of traffic to the different doors. I even saw the door to the one-pod schoolhouse. This place takes a little getting used to, Mommy said. And that's okay, Abby. We're learning something new. We're going to make mistakes. You don't make mistakes, Mommy. My mother smiled and she opened the next door. Do you want to hear a secret, Abby? We entered the corridor and the door closed behind us. You didn't switch those tablets, Mommy said. I did. I was so busy thinking about work and you and your brother. When we left this morning, I just grabbed the first tablet I saw. Turns out it was yours. I'm sorry, Abby. Wait, it was Mommy who took my tablet? It wasn't all my fault after all? Suddenly, I felt 300% better about everything. But that dropped to 150% when I remembered all my mistakes. It's okay, Mommy. I've never had an 8-year-old daughter before. I still have a lot to learn. Well, I've never been 8 before. I have so many things to learn, especially here. Mommy smiled at me. So let's make a deal. I'll learn how to be more patient with you, and you'll learn how to be more patient with me. It's a deal, I said. We're here, Mommy said, pulling me down. This is the cupola. It's a special observation pod. The cupola was like a huge glass bubble hanging from the bottom of the space station. Mommy and I squeezed inside, and then I sat on her lap. Through the window was the biggest, bluest, swirliest, most magnificent thing I'd ever seen. Planet Earth. Wow. I couldn't take my eyes off our home planet. I could see it all: oceans, mountain ranges, storm clouds, everything. It was 11, 70, infinity kinds of cool. Pretty amazing, huh? Mommy said. When I first came here, do you know what I thought? You thought about how beautiful Earth is? I thought about you, Abby, how you would love being able to see everything on the planet at the same time. I thought about this moment we're having right now. Really? My mother's brain was always so full of science and theories and rules and stuff I didn't understand. Sometimes I forgot that I was in there too. I gave my mother the biggest, squeeziest hug. Oh, there it is, she said. We watched the sun light up the middle of the United States. There's your Nana Sherry's house. I waved to Nana Sherry, even though I knew she and her little dog couldn't see us. I waved to everyone in Houston and Texas and the United States and the Americas and the whole world. Then I thought about all the people on the Oasis, the ones I'd met and the ones I had yet to meet. I thought about all the people on missions and spaceships and stations on the moon and Mars and even beyond. We're right in the middle of everything and everyone, aren't we, Mommy? We are between the sea and the stars, mi corazón. We've got the best spot in the universe, I said. My mother hugged me closer. That's why we're here together. No one's going back to Houston right now, even if we make mistakes. We'll figure it out as a family. Those words were all I'd wanted to hear all day long. I felt 1000% better. Mommy and I watched Earth whirl by for a long, long time. It was out of this world. It was interstellar. Well, cheetah readers, that's the end of our book. We have finished another 2024 Washington Children's Choice Picture Book Award nominee. Can't wait to see who we all vote for in May. Happy reading, cheetahs. Bye.